Hey everybody, it's Mayne here. I wanted to have this kind of talk with you guys about the reason I started YouTube. I know that I put up a video recently talking about my decision to do that, and I feel like I only touched the surface a little bit. Again, on this channel, I want to be as transparent with you guys as possible because I know that the things that I go through and the things that I deal with are, if not more so the same as some things that you guys go through, but probably not as bad. I know that everybody has their own challenges and difficulties and things that should take priority over other things. And, you know, what we do in this field could be considered a luxury or just a fortunate happenstance to other people. But I just wanted to go ahead and talk to you about my story to kind of give people some hope, because sometimes that's what you need to hear. So a couple years ago, I actually did start a YouTube page. It was just me just doing some stuff here and there. Wasn't really thinking anything super serious. It was more so just, I wanted to see if I could put some stuff up, see if it would get any views, and I would go from there. For those who may not know, I do actually sing. Singing is something I've been doing probably before I've been doing any video gaming. I'll do that some other time. I'm sure you guys will hear me sing at some point, but on my personal page, there were like 3 clips or so of me singing. And I thought it was cool. This was like years ago when YouTube was just, kind of really starting to get rolling. And so, like I said, I did a couple things. I didn't think anything serious. I wasn't expecting to blow up. Again, this was like starting kind of like early YouTube. So people weren't really, especially in my field or in my camp, weren't really using YouTube like that. It was just a pastime, things to do to, look at while you were at the, store with somebody or in the car waiting to go somewhere with your friends, something like that. And, I decided to put something out. I got a few views on it, to be honest, it was okay. But after a while, I didn't think that it could really do much for me. So I just stepped back and I let it go. And, years later, I did a couple more videos. It wasn't something that I really felt strongly about, so I let it go. Of course, looking back now, I was literally just recording videos and putting them up there. I wasn't putting too much in my descriptions. I wasn't using tags. I wasn't looking at other forms of SEO to drive traffic. I wasn't doing anything, just putting it out there. So I ended up, again, doing nothing with it until years later. Of course, it becomes YouTube, right? And I always thought, man, what would it have been if I continued to do what I was doing? I beat myself up pretty bad about that for a few years. Then I realized, you know what? Who am I to say that I can't turn YouTube into something for me, something that I can use to grow and start a community? And, basically I was asking myself, who am I to feel like I don't have anything to offer? And that was a good question to ask myself, because everybody has something to offer. Everybody. It's just that sometimes it takes you a while to figure that out. And it took me a while to figure that out. And it was hard, looking at all these other people that are successful and they're thriving. And I have these things that I want to do, but wondering if I was different enough or had what it took to have someone look at me versus someone else. And I said, you know what? Forget it. 2 years ago, I said, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and put some videos out. I'll do it. And I didn't. I was scared. I was nervous. I was anxious, because that same thought, what do you have to offer, came into my mind. And I'll say, well, I can sing and I like to play video games and I like to talk about tech and things like that. But still something was holding on, like, everybody else can do that way better than you. You don't really have anything to offer. So I didn't put out any videos. I kept saying, I'm going to do it. And I didn't. And I think that's normal, because you look at something like YouTube, you look at this platform and you're like, man, there's so many people. Who am I? Like I said before, who am I to feel like I can leave an impact? Like I can have my imprint in this space. And I was wrong, because there's 7 billion people on this planet. and counting. And everybody's different. And just because you look at one person, they have millions of followers in this same particular field, that doesn't mean that they've grabbed the entire population's attention. There's room for you. And I think that what I didn't take into consideration, while there's people who are very successful, they have millions of followers and people just give them all their time and their views and everything like that. They spread word of mouth whenever content comes out. I had to realize that for, let's say, 13 million, maybe 4 or 5 million, maybe 1 million people that follow that person, there's probably millions more who don't for their own reasons. And it's not for me to worry about their attention. The one thing I had to focus on was the fact that whatever it is that I feel that I have to offer, I just need to present it. And that's it. Just got to present it. So early last year, I mean like January, I said, you know what, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and start making game content. I'm just going to start hitting the pavement. I'm just going to start grinding. 2020 has something in store for all of us. I have 3 children. I have a wife, and we have to maintain. My daughter was going to daycare. The kids were, of course, in school, and all those things cost. I had to make a decision, you know, and I worked at a hospital. So it was tough to be able to see what I saw and then come home and wonder, what am I bringing home to my family? So I had to bet on myself. Some people may say, oh, well, man, that was a crazy choice to make and you shouldn't have did that. Hindsight, now I'm glad I did, because I'm able to make this content now, but I had to make a decision. But through that, once again, I still didn't make any content because I was worried about where this was going to come from, or how was I going to pay for this, and what we're going to do. And long story short, people deal with that also. And I think that's another reason why people don't enter this field. They have the desire to want to create content. They have the desire to want to stream. They have the desire to want to make something of themselves on this platform because it makes them either feel good, or they feel like they can make others feel good. They can share their excitement for things that they do, and afraid of, for one, that sacrifice that you have to make, because it is a sacrifice that you make when you do this. I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't a sacrifice. And I have 3 children and I'm happily married. But it's a sacrifice. But some people are worried about whether that sacrifice is worth it. Some people may have other people that talk down to them for wanting to do this. You know, if you're years ago, if you were a gamer, you were considered like the lowest of the low. You play video games. I think video games, and if you play video games and if you were a wrestling fan, those two, which I am also, you put those two together, oh, please, you're a geek, you're a nerd. And if you wanted to pursue something like this now, back then, like a couple years ago, and I even heard it recently, oh, why would you do that? You're not gonna, that's a waste of time. You're not gonna do anything with that. That's pointless. It's impossible. And then look at some of the people on Twitch. Look at some of the people here on YouTube making a great living. But it's not about the great living. It's also about the reach by just doing what they loved and offering something. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there who are afraid to do that because of sacrifices you have to make, whether you feel that you're good enough, whether you feel that you have something to offer. And you do. We all do. Whether or not you decide to figure that out, that's at that point, that's on you. But you do have something to offer. We all do. So some time goes by, I didn't make videos, and I said, you know what, I really have to do this now. It just came to a point to where I had to do it. And I started streaming more. I had started during early in the pandemic, but then I stopped. I realized that I was the one making excuses. As hard as it sounds, it was one of the most important things that I've ever done, is to look in the mirror and tell myself, you're making excuses. I have a whiteboard right here, and I have all of my goals and things that I want to do. As far as my content. And one of the things that I have written on here is, it says, nothing happens to me, it happens because of me. I realize that it's true. In life, we say, oh, well, this didn't go my way because this happened, or this didn't go my way because this happened. And really what it is that you're directing the blame somewhere to explain your lack of ... or the reason you didn't ... And what it all comes down to is, it's all because of me. So that's something that I have written there, and I just started making content, and I'm glad I did. I really am. I put up my video recently, and the hours that I put in, the days that I put in, make no mistake, it's work. There's people who have teams who do this. And you have to understand that sometimes it's gonna be only you. You're not gonna have any friends to help you with this. I sat there, and that Outriders demo impressions video, I recorded that footage on the 6th of March. I put it out, I believe, on the 25th or 26th. Now, some people might say, well, why would it take so long? I do have a family, and I do have obligations with them as well. I want to spend time with my family. I have a 1-year-old daughter. I want to be there for her, but that's the sacrifice part, right? Because the time that I spend with her, there's time that I could be editing my video, and vice versa. The time that I spend editing my video, I could spend time with my daughter. So for one day, I started editing that. Then another thing that happens, I didn't know what I was doing, so I had to stop and then go and watch a video on how to edit. Then I went back and I spent more time with it. This was days of work, but I'm proud of what I was able to put out, and that's the main thing. You can't quit. You just can't. It's very hard to do, but you can't quit. You owe it to yourself to see it through. Everything you do, you owe it to yourself to see it through. And I hope that other people understand that it's possible to do this. You can do it. But this is my story. This is why I did it. I just decided that I was going to start making the content that I wanted to make. I wasn't going to be afraid anymore. I wasn't going to make excuses anymore. And I was going to do whatever it took to put my stamp on this platform. Whether it goes anywhere or not doesn't make any difference to me, or for me as a parent and as a husband. This may be the only way that my kids will be able to see me in this capacity at some point in time. I don't know what the future holds, but wouldn't it be awesome for my kids to look back and see me doing this? It'd be awesome in, I don't know, 20, 30 years, my kids can go back and chronicle like my entire journey. It's awesome. And this, in a way, is a part of my legacy, part of me leaving something for them. To be able to pull up a video of their dad and see him when he was younger, talk about the things that he was passionate about. That's another reason why I'm doing it, whether or not it goes anywhere. Anyway, the whole point is, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. Yeah, you're tired. Yeah, sometimes you feel unmotivated. Yes, you have days where you stop right in the middle of doing something. Yes, there's days you want to quit. Yes, there's days you don't even want to start. But man, when you do, and you just have this feeling, you know it's going right, and you know that you're about to create something that came from you, I encourage anybody and everybody to find something that they want to do or create. Just do it, because it's possible. It's totally possible. I think I've talked long enough. But if I can leave you with anything, I'll leave you with this. Take a step every day. Just take a step. That's all it takes. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let doubt hold you back, because I promise you, you don't want to live in regret, thinking about the things that you could have done instead of the joy of knowing that you did. Once again, this is Mayne. Take care of each other. We're all we have. Peace.